Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do a different kind of video for me and kind of talking about all the books that I have soft DNF'd or I did not finish this year that I plan or want to plan somehow a way to get them read. Now, I don't mean plan as in like, right, we're going to read them right now, like, or we're going to read them right on this date. More of what's my ideas of how I'm going to come back to these books that I've set down and get through. So I have 15 books that I have not fully DNF. So I am I DNF all the time. I am pretty much like, if a book is just not working for me, I don't usually force myself through it. It is only, if I get way far into the book, do I sometimes finish books that I probably shouldn't. I don't hate read very often. It does happen, but most of the time, I just DNF books. I just don't care enough. And I have too many books clear in my library here to make myself read books I don't want to read. And but there are some classics that I admit are in this stack that I still want to read. I just haven't gotten there. But some, like I DNF'd Mary Barton by Elizabeth Gaskell this year. I've tried 3 times to read that, and it's just not the book for me. I just can't get through it. So that one is, again, that's a solid DNF. But the rest of these are all I still want to read at some point. And I really would like to at least read a third of these by the end of the year, but I'm not going to hold myself to that. Like that's like just a minor, maybe 5 of these I'll get done before the end of the year. There's at least a couple of them for sure I probably will finish, but all of these I have set down. So all of them I was reading for at least more than a day. Most of them I'm at least a third of the way through. At least, well, some of them are a quarter of the way through. One of them's a really big book that I didn't get that far, but the point is that I've made progress in them enough that it's not just I sat down for one day and then I set it aside. These are the ones that I've done that for. Those are all back on my shelf, and those were never put on my currently reading because I know myself enough to know that sometimes I'll read for a day and then the next day I won't feel like that, so the book will just sit. So these all I have attempted multiple days, and they're not done. Anyway, so we're going to go through them, starting with the ones I started earlier in the year to a couple books that I've started in the last couple weeks, which I definitely want to get to and finish before the end of the year. But I set them aside for other books. So, because again, because I'm a mood reader. And this last week, I really I started to think about planning this video, and I was thinking about all these books, how I want to get them done before the end of the year. And then I realized what I was doing. I was trying to plan my reading, and we all should know by now that Amy doesn't plan her reading. She might be a planner in her real life, or have been for many years, not recently, but you know what I mean. The point is that I think about things all the time, how I want to plan to do things, but my reading can't be like the same. It's not like that. Like I can do buddy reads, which I do, and I really enjoy those, but they have to be few, and they can't be super long books right now because there's so much going on. So anyway, so let's go through the books that I am partially through and if I have a kind of tentative, I don't want to use the word plan, but it really is. I'm just kind of saying it's not like a strict date. It's more of what I want to achieve. So if there's any of these books you think I need to strive to read sooner, let me know. Most of them, as I said, I will get to them at some point. It's just didn't work out when I first started. Anyway, so one of the first books I started this year was A Writer's Diary by Virginia Woolf. This is her diary entries that have to do with her writing, her reviewing, and stuff like that, that was put together after her death. And I am just over half. This is a book that I started, and I read about not a full quarter. I was pretty far into it, or deep enough into it over several days. And then I set it down and just didn't come back to it until November. So this is actually what I'm currently reading. I did set it down again just last week. I didn't read it at all, but I did pick it up today. So I'm hoping to get back on track to finish by the end of November for Nonfiction November to read one section a day. And the sections are by each year. So I am at 1933. today. So I want to finish that. So then tomorrow I can read 1934, you know, so, and they're about 15 to 20 pages each section. So I'm hoping to get this done by the end of the month. That was my goal. But this is, again, a book that I sat on my currently reading all year since I started this in, I think at the end of January or something. So I do want to get back to this nonfiction. So I will, that one I have, like, I'm working on that. That's I'm currently reading that one. But I really am currently reading. It's not just on the list. A book that I started, I think in February, that was on my books that will self-destruct. So I need to get this done by the end of the year, is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This is one of those instances where I'm not a contemporary romance reader too much. Well, I mean, I have read more this year than I have any other time, but this was one of the first ones I picked up after I thought about reading contemporary again. So it's been kind of a struggle. There's been some books that have been great hits and other ones that I'm kind of iffy on. This one, I just need to finish it because at the time I wasn't sure if I was going to read much contemporary. So I got 258 pages in, and it's the good part. And I think I stopped it there because it was the good part, so I can get back to it. So I have just over 100. No, do I have 100 pages? Is that it? Yeah, just under 100 pages. I have like 96 pages left. So I do want to finish this by the end of the year. This is another one that I think I could do it. I'm really close. I just need to set myself down maybe on a weekend day or one of my holiday, you know, one of the days I have off, and just sit there and read this and get this done. I was enjoying this. I mean, again, everybody knows that I love Hypothesis. And I really liked all of it up until something that happened just before the scene I'm in. And I was having trouble with her reaction to something. So we'll see. As I said, it's just, I think I'm still adjusting back to reading contemporary romances. I still have issues with a lot of them. And so that one was kind of like the first one I'd read in years. And again, I just need to finish it. And it is on my self-destruct books, so I do want to read that. So I failed March of the Mammoths this year with Les Mis by Victor Hugo. I got 164 pages in. So I made a chunk, but I didn't finish it. I was reading it and an audiobook combo to try to get through this. But I think I just felt like I bit off more than I could chew. I think I was trying to read it too fast. And I even tried to join a group this summer to try to get this read. Because again, they were doing it over 3 months, and I thought, oh, that'll work for me. Still didn't work for me because it was making me rush, that I felt like I'd rush, even though it was like only 100 pages a week. It was just, there's something about the schedule was my problem. And so this is one of those books that's classics that I want to read. I've had a copy. It's not this copy. I bought this copy special for March. I have a really old copy that I bought in I think 2003 after I saw the musical, and I wanted to read it then, and I didn't. And then, so this is a book that I will come back to. It's not in my plans right now, so I've already taken it off my currently reading. I'm only bringing it here because this is a book that has showed up on my TBRs, and I don't know if I ever said really that this is a book that I will come back to. It's just, I don't think this year was the year of the gigantic classic, which I'll show you another one in a minute. But I do want to come back to this one. And this is definitely still will go on my card of shame. And it's a book that I want to try to read slowly, maybe find a way to read a little sections at a time and then just work my way through it. Or else I will find a time where I want to read it straight and nothing else, and focus on it. So we'll see. As I said, I don't have a full plan on what I want to do with this. It's just not this year, and it's probably not going to be next year unless somewhere in the middle of the year I decide that I'm going to tackle it. But right now, this is not going on my March of the Mammoths. For next year, I'm going to do something different. But it is a classic I want to get back to and to actually read, to be able to say I've read that one. Then The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, the first book in the Starlight Archive. I started this, I think, in April, and I got 110 pages in. So I was reading it physically and even tabbing it a little bit, which I didn't leave my tabs in here. I'll have to, I don't have what ones I was using. Anyway, so I was enjoying it. It's just, I think I'd started too many books at the same time is what happened. This was a casualty. So again, I read 110, which is like a tenth of the book, not very much. So, because this is only half of the book. The other half is another book. For me, I bought the two-part ones from the UK. So this is, again, epic fantasy, and it's one I've always wanted to get to, for Sanderson. I just haven't read this one. So I started it and then I set it down and I didn't touch it again. I did just a couple of days ago re-listen, or I put it on audio to listen to the point up until I'd read. So I'm going to go back to being physical, but the first 110 pages, as I said, I was going to listen to the audiobook since I had it and use it if I wanted to, like if I get in the car or something. But I got 65 pages back into it, so I still need to read like 55 pages by audio or physically to get back to where I started. And then I would like, this is one of the books I'd really like to finish, at least this first half before the end of the year, but I'd really like to read both books by the end of the year, because next year I'd really like to focus on a few epic fantasy series. This one is one of them, because the next book in the series is coming out hopefully at the end of next year, last I heard. But I really want to read this series because I want to know what everybody talks about the Cosmere. Like, again, I've read The Mistborn up to a certain point. I'm still a couple books short of Second Era. I haven't finished that one out. But I want to go back and I want to read these because they came out. I want to read the ones that came out before Bands of Mourning before I read that one. And then read all the way through the Stormlight Archive before I read The Lost Metal, and then the couple, I think I have another book or two. But anyway, point is that I have, this is a book this one, as I said, there's a couple of these that I really think I'm going to get to by the end of the year. I want to at least read this first section. I would love to be able to read this one and the second section, and so have the whole Way of Kings done by the end of the year. That's my hope. So we'll see how that goes. And then another book that I started in the spring was Small Miracles by Olivia Atwater. So I really love her Half a Soul book. I have not continued on in that series yet because they're companion novels. But this one was the one that I think she won the SPFBO or however that goes, 8, I believe. I think 9's the one that's running right now. So she won the blog off. So I got it because I liked her other book. And I got 100. No, I didn't get 100. I got to 96 pages in. And this one just isn't super working for me. It has to do with a fallen angel who is sent to try to kind of manipulate a woman to be bad, kind of to score points for something. And, but it's... I just had to be in the right mood for it, and I don't think I was. And I just set it down. I think this is a pretty light read. Again, it's got a funny take on it. It's hilarious. It's pretty funny. I just need to, I think I need to restart this one. I just don't know if it's going to be this year. This one's actually one of the ones I'm kind of iffy on when I'll come back to it. I don't want to get rid of it yet. I do want to give it another shot. This is one of a couple that I think I need to restart because it's been now months and I don't remember what I read. And I do. So that one's kind of, I'm not sure what to do about that one or if I'm going to get to it before the end of the year. Another book I started and sometime, was this in June? I don't know, May or June, is To Marry a Scottish Laird by Lindsay Sands. This is book 2 in this the Highland Brides series, I think. I've read the first one twice now because I collected the series up to, I think, the current one that's out, and they're Scottish, Highland romances, and so I really loved the first one. The first one was funny and everything. Lindsay Sands is a funny writer. I love her Argonaut Vampire series, which I need to get back to and read more of those. But so this one's, again, Scottish. This one, I was having trouble with him and and how quickly they got together kind of thing. I think that was my problem is I'm like, wait, what? And she's trying to get to somebody who's supposed to help her. I think after her mother's death, she had some scroll to give him, and then this Highlander comes across her, and first I think she's dressed up as a guy or as a boy or something, and then he helps her, and then finds out she's a woman, and then that all changes things. Anyway, point is that I think he's going to protect her, but I don't know. I didn't get that far. I read 74 pages, and I just set it down. I wasn't in the mood to go through their shenanigans. Anyway, it was funny, but not great. So I'm not sure if I'm going to come back to that before the end of the year either. But I'd like to still get back to that series because I own all the books. So I just need to get through book 2, and hopefully they get better because I really liked book 1. Book 2 I had problems with. And then I have Death on Gokumon Island by Shiichi Yokomizo, which is book 2. Well, technically, in by publication order of the detective Kosuke Kindaichi. And so it's the Hanjin Murders was the first book in the series, which I read earlier this year, and really I enjoyed that. It was pretty good. Locker room mystery. So that was really cool. This one takes place where he is going to this island to kind of tell this man's that had passed away after World War II. I believe that's when this takes place, right after that. And tell the family that he had passed away and stuff. And then he gets kind of caught up in something's going on the island, and things are happening, and then people start dying. So I think he's there. He's going to be there when but he's seen as an outsider because, again, he is. And I think he comes in and things start happening. So I didn't get very far. This one I read 36 pages of. I know I read this a couple of days, and I kept trying to get back to it, but I think I was just not in the mood for it. This is, again, another one I want to restart and read. If I don't read it this month, I'm hoping to read it in March Mystery Madness in March. I just don't know if I can get this done in December. I really do. It's on a book that I put on my end of the year book tag that I want to read. So this one's kind of iffy. I'm going to put it on the stack that I want to try to read it next month. But I don't know if I will. I don't know if I'm going to feel in the mood for a mystery. But a lot of people are doing mystery, like reading in December. So I might want to. So I guess I'll put it on that list. But as I said, I want to read more of the translated books. These are, this one's translated, I think, by, Louise Heel Kawai. So I have 2 other ones that I own. And then there's a 5th one that I have not bought yet because I need to read the ones I have. So anyway, I'd like to get to that one. Another classic that I set down was The Mysteries of Udolpho by Anne Radcliffe. I have been reading her almost every year for Jane Austen July, and finally I'm to the end where I have I think 2 left. One was a smaller one, and I of course picked the big one because Mysteries of Udolpho is her most famous of her Gothic novels, and I haven't read it yet. So I wanted to read it. And I wasn't in the mood to read this in July. It just didn't happen. So I read 54 pages. So I was reading it as well as listening to it. And I didn't get very far. Anyway, so this is still a Gothic novel I would like to get to. It's just not going to be this year. I don't know if this is going to be next year either. It's going to go back on my shelf. I've already removed it from my currently reading. But I wanted to mention it here only because, again, it's one of those things where this is a classic I would like to get to. I want to give it at least one more try. As I said, with classics, I give more chances than I probably would a normal book because they're classics for a reason, and I want to at least experience them as much as I can. So this was not the year for Mysteries of Udolpho, which I'm sad, but I will try this again. I don't know if I don't think it'll be next year, but we'll see how it goes. It might be. I might, again, just like Les Mis, pick it up at a certain time, just go, well, I'm going to focus and this is going to be my read, and I'm not going to read anything else but this, or I'll find a way to do it in partials. But it matters on my reading. And again, it's all over the place right now, so who knows? So, okay, so this next book is one that I'm almost positive I'm going to DNF this book and the series. And I'm really sad about it because I really, really liked the first book, and that is The Tropic of Serpents by Marie Brennan, a memoir of Lady Trent. So I really enjoyed A Natural History of Dragons. I read it many years ago when it first came out, and then I recently got to reread it last year, I believe. So I got the second one at some point, and I also had the audiobook. So which I think is done by Kate Redding, which is really well done. My problem with this, again, is a historical fantasy. So we're following, this woman is writing her memoirs, and it's talking about when she was younger and when she first was getting into the study of dragons and stuff. And so this is her her second big adventure, because the first one was in the first one. So she's she's a young woman, or a young woman. So, well, I mean, she's a couple years down the road from the first book. So I don't want to say anything like that, but she has to deal with a lot of things in this culture that she goes to look at the dragons that kind of made me kind of mad, just because of, I know historically that's in a lot of countries. It was kind of annoying that, but my problem was the hints of things that were coming that had to do with certain mores at the time, and how she felt about them, and how, it was, some people were going to react to certain things. It just was driving me crazy. I hate the thing of, if I had known, we would have done it differently, or, if we had known, we would have done this instead. And this book and the series seems to do that. And that, I know it's coming from the narrative style of writing it from the future, or when she's older, and writing about her younger self. So she has this different perspective. But I admit that is not, I don't like that kind of narrative style. It's never been a favorite of mine. It kind of not upsets. It just ruins things for me, because I don't want those hints. Don't tell me. I want to experience it as the characters experience it. And some books can get away with it, and I'm okay with it, because they just do it very minutely, or just not quite so obviously. I don't like it when it's obvious, and I feel like that this series just isn't working for me. That I do want to give it one more shot, because I did get to 122 pages and things were happening, but I also was just like, I don't know if I can handle this. So I want to give this another shot, but I don't know if it's going to be this year. So I don't know. I know a lot of people love this series, but again, one of the narrative issues with it is what's holding me back from really enjoying it. So I don't know. We'll see about that, but I'm not going to put that as one of the ones I want to get done, because that list is growing. So another book that I started and then didn't finish is House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. So I read 200 pages of 800. I think I read this too soon after rereading House of Earth and Blood. I was really into it, and then I just lost it after 2 days of, or 2 or 3 days that I read this, and then I was just like, I set it down and did other stuff, and I just have not gone back to it. And I did this at the beginning of September. So this is a book I definitely want to get done before, the end of January, because House of Flame and Shadow comes out. And I want to make sure I'm up to date to read the Crescent City series. So, because I did pre-order the third book, because at the time I was really enjoying my reading. And then I just set it down. And I don't think anything bad is happening here. I just lost, I think I just read too much of it at one time. So this is another one I would love to get done by the end of the year. If not, this will be one of my first January reads, because I want to make sure I get it done before the third book comes out. So, anyway, and no, I have not read any of her other series. I have only read Sarah J. Maas, with the Crescent City series. So, that's going to be interesting. So this was kind of like a maybe that I want to read by the end of the year. Okay, so then Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett is a book that I read, or I started in September. And I was enjoying it, but not enough at the time. I think I was just a little distracted with all the series books I was reading, and this was starting a series. And I think I was biting off more than I can chew at the time. So I think I set it down. So this is a book that I want to restart and see if I want to continue again, because it's a series book. So I do, it's a historical fantasy as well as like couple of the other ones that I've mentioned. And this one is following Emily Wilde as she goes to this island to study some of the fairies there, because they're kind of interesting. And one of her work colleagues shows up and kind of disrupts what she was doing, but it's also goodies there and also baddies there. You know, like there's things going on. And something had just happened when I set it down. I set it down for the day going, oh, you got to be kidding me. And I just didn't come back to it. And it wasn't that bad. It was just mentally one of those days. So this is another book I'd like to read by the end of the year, but I think I might have to restart it because it has been a few months. And I do want to, I feel like I wasn't reading it like closely. A book that I read too many books the same. I'm not the same, but like in the same vein. And so I just took a break from it and I need to get back to it is What the Hex by Jessica Clare. This is the second book in the Hex series. I read, what is the first one? It was like, it has something to do with Hex. Go Hex Yourself, which I really enjoyed because that was like, it was like enters the world with witches really well. So again, this is like a witchy rom-com kind of thing. This one is a fake dating one where this one of the wizards, he is not supposed to have a companion because of something that happened in the past, and he's kind of banned from it for a few more years. But he takes on a kind of a secret apprentice or, you know, a companion, and they lie and say that they're dating. So that's why they're hanging out together, not because she's helping him with magic and stuff. So I only got 76 pages into this. I did enjoy it. Again, it was one of those things where I just set stuff down because I was reading a lot of books at the time and just throwing things down. So I do want to get back to that one, hopefully by the end of the year. A book that I started, I think at the beginning of, or sometime, I don't remember when I started this. Did I start this in November or end of October? I can't remember. Is The Brightest Star in Paris by Diana Biller. Oh, it must have been the beginning of November. So this is kind of a companion novel to The Widow of Rose House, which I read a couple years ago. So I've had this on my shelf since it came out 2 years ago. And I put this on my 23 and 2023, which I did not do very good at that list. But this is one of the ones I wanted to read because I got another book by her that came out this year, Hotel of Secrets. And I don't want to read that one because it's not related to the series, I don't think, of how these ones, which are historical romances, but they have kind of a ghostly element to it. So we're following a ballerina who used to know this young man who was he's now a doctor, but they knew each other 7 years. I think it's 7 years. They were apart for quite a few years. And now he's back in Paris and she's like the star ballerina. And things are going on when somehow she starts seeing ghosts. Anyway, and this is taking place in the 1870s at some point. So I'm enjoying it, but I just can't read it too often. I'm at 107 pages. This is another book I'd like to finish before the end of the year because I am enjoying that. Oh, I forgot. I have one audio that I am in the middle of that I started sometime in the summer, which is Mythos by Stephen Fry. This is the Greek myths retold. So he has a series of books about myths and Troy and heroes, I think. I don't remember the order. But this was the first one. And I got partway through it. And then I reread one of the Eros and Psyche retellings by Katie Robert. Electric Idol. Because it was talking about those two and his myths. And I went back and read My Steamy Romance. Anyway, point is that I haven't come back to this. I still have this on audio. And I think I have the other ones as well, or at least one of the other ones. So I do want to finish that one as well. I was hoping to get to it this month, but I haven't yet. So that's kind of an iffy. I might get to that by the end of the year. Maybe not, but I'm still in the middle of that one. And then the last one that I kind of putting on here kind of at the end, because this is a book that I was reading and then I have set it down for 2 days. And so just to show that it happens even with a book that it's anticipated. And Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros is the second book in the Imperium, I don't know how you say that word, series following Fourth Wing. So I let myself reread Fourth Wing a couple months after I read it to be ready for this book. And then I started this one and I liked the beginning. And then we got to kind of past the beginning, which was really all this stuff going on. And now they're getting back into kind of a routine. And I think I just had to stop. And I was like, I've read too much of this stuff. And again, I think I did the same thing with the House of Sky and Breath after rereading House of Earth and Blood. Sometimes I read some series, I can't read them back to back, and I guess sometimes that happens. There's some authors that I can just read back to back to back and it's not a problem. But so this one, I don't plan to get back to this for another couple days for sure. So this is, again, it's a softy enough. It's still my currently reading. I'm still going to come back to it. It's just, I've decided, I had the audiobook and I've decided to go back to reading physically because it's my first time read. And because again, I read the audio for the reread of Fourth Wing, which was really good, and I think it'll be great on reread by audio, but I think I need to read it physically just to enjoy it more. So again, this is not one, this one's definitely I want to get done. I'm not going to say I'm going to get it done by the end of November. I'm still going to put this on my list of books I want to get done by the end of December. So the problem here is that it shows, what do I have here? Oh, I turned it around the wrong way. So these are all the books that I would like to get to before the end of the year that I have technically softy enough to put aside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 of the 15. But I'm not saying I'm going to do that. Like, again, these are all books I'd like to do that with. If there's any books you think I definitely need to finish before the end of the year, let me know. Do you guys do that? Look at your list of books that you started this year and which ones are still on your currently reading. Sorry for the cut. I started coughing really bad. Okay, so my question is if you guys do that as well, as you look at your currently reading at the end of the year, and if you decide to cut things off. So anything that I'm not currently reading or don't have any plans to read within, like really close to the end of the year, I'm going to move them off of my currently reading and move them to my want to read again. And if I pick them up, then I will restart the time on them. But I need to get that list down so it doesn't look so daunting of all the books I'm in the middle of. Because again, some of these books I'm not planning to go back to this year. And I don't think I'll go back to them next year. But other ones I might just pick up on a whim and just read. And I can't have them hanging over my head at the end of the year. So anyway, let me know what you guys do with those books that you start and then put down. Again, there's several books that I've started and just read a little bit for one day, but I put them back on my shelf. I didn't count them because I always wait till usually I'm like far enough into a book to say I'm currently reading it. Because I've been burned too many times where I'll just read a little bit and then the next day I'll be like, no, I'm not reading that. So, anyway, let me know what you guys do with books like that, or if you're thinking about stuff for the end of the year, like I am, and getting a little I'm just thinking too much right now. So I need to go chill out and maybe read a book. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye.